Alright, hey everyone. It's time to do another YouTube video, and I've been getting questioned about how to lay out these cards to the right, the weather card, and I'll also show you how I've done the battery display for things that are low on battery. So, continuing on from our tutorial floor plan, just open it up. Floor plan tutorial. Well, I think, actually, I'll keep this for reference. What I think I'll start with and show is the speakers and the two buttons on the top right. Now, to do this, we're going to have to change a couple of things in our view YAML file. So, for starters, we'll open up the YAML and go to the config, and I've commented out the processes so that I don't have to go out typing it all, and you can just reference from what I've done. But we are going to first put in horizontal stack under cards, because if you do not do that, so if I get rid of this and go back to the floor plan, click refresh, that's fine. But if I put in another card, let's say the right speakers, which is what I will start doing first anyway, comment that out, do another refresh, you get an error. This view contains more than one card, but a panel view can only have one card. All right, so in that case, what we do is that one. Go up here and put everything under a horizontal stack. That way, the horizontal stack is the only card child to the panel, and then we can just continue our flow from there. Just make sure your floor plan is tabbed over to be under cards. So now that we've done that, and I click refresh, did I save? I did not save. Go back over, click refresh, and you've got your floor plan, no errors, and the speakers that I'm going to show you. So with the speakers, we are going to start with a custom mod card. This allows us to style a horizontal stack, a vertical stack, or any card that does not have the HA card inside, because they cannot be styled easily. So go over to Thomas Lovelace mod card, install this if you haven't already, and then we can continue on. So having that installed, we are going to do card mod, and this is the important style to place it where you want it. So for starters, we're going to do transform translate 0 to 0. That puts the transformation and where you're positioning to the top left, as it is the default for programming and web design. So now when we go to top, we are going to say from the top, we want it as var header height. We're doing header height because there's a header HA user, Home Assistant users that comes up to. Well, there's a header there. You want to bypass that height. So we do header height. You can even do a calculation header height. Let's do a calc plus 5 pixels. So it gives a bit of breathing room as well from the header. So if we do a refresh, you can see it comes down a little bit. Position, we do absolute. This is important as well. This means that it has no effect on any of its siblings or anything else within the view, and you can position it to wherever you want on the page or document that is relative to. Now we're going to give it a width. If we do not give it a width, it will stretch to 100%, I believe. So let's try that quickly. Or it just goes to its default width, which isn't actually too bad anyway. You can probably leave it as a default width, or you can just add your own custom width. Even if you wanted to make it larger, you could do 300. And depending how the card is made, it might look fine or it might not. And it just stretches it out. Next, we got right, which I probably prefer to put next to top, so you know they're both related in some way. So right 6 pixels means 6 pixels from the right of the document. So if I did, let's say 30, you'll see that's gone 30 pixels from the right. If you leave out the left, then it ignores the left positioning and positions all the way to the right of that many pixels. If we did a left, then it stretches out that distance, 30 to 30 pixels. And because we got width, it's not giving it the, it's literally that size, but it's not showing it because of a constraint of the width. And you can see now 30 pixels from the left, 30 pixels from the right. So I just wanted to demonstrate that, just so you get a little bit of an understanding of how left, right, top, and bottom work. The same would happen with top and bottom. If we said bottom 0, it would stretch all the way down to the bottom. Now we do height, auto, important. Now I'm not too sure why I did auto important, but I think it might be for this reason. I'm not too sure, but fail safe maybe. I'll leave it there just in case. Vertical stack card margin, that would have been something to do with a theme style that I wanted to change, and that I believe is, see the gap between where the cards are, that would be that style. And I'm just manually changing it here. If I did 6, then it should be a 6 pixel gap, like so. I might change that to 5 to better flow with this design. So now we are going to do our normal card. So after you've done your card mod, you put in a card for your mod card, custom card. And then I did a vertical stack. So as you can see, it's vertical. And then you got a horizontal within that. So we are going to do a card, and I did a custom auto-entity. This would be a custom card that you can find online. And the card type, so this is just the specifics for this card. A filter to include all the media player speaker group, so anything in my speaker group. Naming is, I'll say this name now, naming is important when it comes to naming your entities, because it can make a lot of things flow a lot easier and make things a lot more dynamic without having to inject every single entity and such. If you got good naming convention, then a lot of the hard work can be done in the background and pre-processed. Again, sort, method, entity ID, I think that one really mattered. So that's for the speakers. Next, we have another cards that are auto entities doing the same thing, but this one is including media player, speaker hub, or speakers that are playing. So if one of the speakers are playing, then it will show down here. For example, just quickly do this. Things have changed, haven't they? Music, no, let's go to Plex. Sorry, it's been a while since I've used this, and I did have Plex. I deleted the Plex. That was silly of me. Anyway, if something was plane, then that would automatically show up. So after that we got a grid, 2 columns, square, false, and I'm just using the custom button card entity cards and just doing a specifics for those cards, and those ones are these 2 that you see here. Now you can't see this well, and I'm going to show you that. Well, we'll start by making sure that our design has a theme. So if we go into here, we're in config. I've set this to floor plan tutorial as a theme. You should set your own theme for your floor plan instead of using the actual default for your whole Home Assistant. Again, it's up to you, but this allows us to really edit the theme within the dashboard view. So I've got the floor plan tutorial theme here, and I'm going to start by putting in the background. So I've got a Lovelace background. Then I'm going to do top right, no repeat, URL, and point to the www of that image, which is there, and make it fixed. You can play around with these settings. This is all just pure CSS styling for a background. Once you've done that, save and go into developer options. You want to do reload themes, call service, go back in, and then you can see the background's now added. And as you can see here, it's still not quite how we want it. So the next thing that I like to do is HA card background, which is all the HA cards. Give it a style, something that you're comfortable with, call service. And you've got, that will apply to all the cards that are going to display within the view. You can also add themes to specific cards, or you can style them manually with card mod in case you do not want that to affect globally and within your view. If you're curious as to how you want to style and match it with your background or so, you want to look at HA card within your developer tools. You wouldn't want to use that one because that's not for that one. So you want to use that. As you can see, it's outlining which one that you're going to edit. And you can see here, background, HA card background, which as you see in your theme, HA card background. And that's what those affect. If you look at those themes that has a dash dash, they're variables. And Home Assistant picks up from the theme anything that's after the 2 dashes. So HA card background. So within that, you can go around, and this is one thing I don't like about Google. They've screwed this bit up. Just watch out for that. They don't seem to correctly modify the color modifier, whatever you call it, properly. So we can change it to that. Then you can, play around with it, make it dark, do whatever. I did a bit of a green just to give it a bit, little bit of a background resemblance. Change the opacity if you want. I might make it a little bit like that. Then just copy the hex code. If you want, I prefer to use hex because it's easier to copy than having to do blue, green, red, alpha, and all that. So just click that button until you get to the hex. Copy. Go into your theme and paste. Then save it and reload, and it will apply to your layout. I'll just do a quick call service and a refresh just to make sure we're all on the same page. You may have, let's say, because when I was initially doing this, that was black. You can change those little things as well. They're just paper icons. And I think You got HA icon display. Here, paper icon, item icon color. And again, you can change the icons to anything you want. And place that if you don't have it in your theme already, which this one already did. Paper item icon color. It was initially what, I'm going to change it to that. Now, if it's not there, you can just add it in. Again, from here, it won't be there now because I've modified it, but you can just copy what was in there and place it in your theme and do a reload. All right, so now we'll continue on and we'll go down to our, the speakers. And we're up to the grid. And for the grid, I've done a custom card button LED effects. Again, you can choose whatever you want. I've done manual styling, gave it a color for the icon, left the background colors as they are. They just copy out of the HA card, or you can change them yourself manually. Just go through the documentation for that card and I'll give you a bit more insight. So now we've got those speakers and those buttons out of the way. Let's have a look at doing a battery states. You'll notice that I put it up the top. This is important because I want to show you. I'm going to do a refresh. You can see them down here. Now, if they were below the floor plan, the box of the floor plan can, if this is over top, then you won't be able to click floor plan icons or anything there. So because it's behind, meaning because it's up the top, it means floor plan can be clicked anywhere, even if it's over here and so forth. So that's just the hierarchy rules and just to be mindful about that. So with this card, we again use custom mod card mod style. Now we're going to do absolute again. Always do absolute. Bottom 6 pixels, right 6 pixels, and width 265. And I think that's why I put a static width in the other one, so they both fit nicely and look in line. So I'm going to change that back in the other one, and that would be here. And it was 6 to the right. 265, I think. Yep. So wait, 6 to the right. Do a refresh, and now they're more in line. This card here has a bit of CSS styling to it, which I'll have a look at as we go through it. So this is all basic bottom. This time we're doing bottom, not top, because we're going down the bottom. Right 6 pixels, yada yada yada. Then a card auto-entities, which we were using for the speakers. Show empty, false. So what that means is if there are nothing to show, then don't show the card at all, which is important for this case. Filter, and we're saying include entity ID, sensor, and anything with a battery. And I've changed this for tutorial purposes and for this video to anything below 85%. If I change this to, let's say, 25 and do a refresh, you'll find that it will disappear. Nothing's below 25%. Let's do 50%. And as there's nothing to show, the card doesn't show either. Got one thing that's below 50%. I'll leave that. Actually, I'll change it back to 85. Now we're going to exclude. This is where I've had to do a little bit of manual custom exclusions because I didn't want phones to show up, because I found it to be irrelevant, as a phone is something that will go down to 0% every day regardless. My Quest 2 panel temperatures, battery temperature. I'm not sure why I did that one, but that's probably a reason. Attributes, show battery alert, false, and this is something I do within the customize rules, where if I don't want the battery to show, I can actually put a custom rule into the attributes, and if that's there and it says false, then don't show it. Next, we got the card order entities, and we're going to display what card it is. It's entities, and that should be theme. Floor plan tutorial. Then we got card mod style, and here I did the styling to do a flash and the red alert kind of style. So you can add your keyframes alert, and we go from background. That would be like red 0033 would be transparent, then to that color as such, box shadow and all that. You can play around with these to see what you prefer. Height, again, auto important. Transform, again, translate 00. Animation, then we're calling this alert animation, so 1 second alert. We can change it to 0.2 and it'll flash even faster, as you can see there. Linear, infinite, and alternate. So alternate means it goes up and back down, whereas if it was without alternate, it looks a bit weird. Again, that effect is, can be useful for other things, but for this one I didn't find it useful, so we do alternate. Box shadow, gave it a box shadow. Background, which is going to be overridden by these from and to alerts anyway, but the background matches the first from. So that is how we apply the battery status that I had on my original floor plan. Now we can go down, and the Weber card I've been questioned about as well. So with the Weber card, this one's a bit more involved. So first of all, I got a Weber card on Google somewhere. Weber card has, it was a custom Weber card, and where I got it from, I can't recall exactly. It was not that one, because obviously it's a custom card. That was a integrated one. Hunt for it if you want, but I'll show you what my Weber card looked like originally. So just Google around for a Weber card that you like. You can even use the default, and we are going to go and switch this on so you can see what it looks like without any styles. And this will take up, or will look dodgy to begin with. And we'll go through the settings one by one. As you can see, it's already pushed the floor plan over because there's no absolute positioning on it yet. So that's what the floor plan card looks like at its current core. And I've turned off details, I've turned off forecasts, so they're not showing. Next, we'll put in the card mod, which I will have to, no, that's fine. So we've got card mod style, transform, again, translate, position, absolute. This time width, 240, left. You'll think, why 165? Well, I've had to push it over to here in mine, so I've used a bit more to the left. For this purpose, I'm going to change that to 6 because it doesn't coincide with my original floor plan. Top 22, opacity 0.7, and we'll turn this off for a second. I'll show you what that does after. So let's do a refresh, and you can see it's now over here. And everything's back in place. Floor plan's back in the middle, and things are showing nicely. Now we want to make this look a little bit neater. Now the luminosity is a mixed blend mode that you'll be familiar with in Photoshop and such. Be mindful when you do use these kind of styles, and we've done a lot of that with the floor plan itself, with the overlays of the lights and all that. That can actually be costly on your CPU and GPU. So think about what devices you're going to use and whether it's worth even the animations, even just the flashing of this red box is, it all adds up in the end, and it can get intensive. But having changed mixed blend mode, just check to see if that was saved, refresh, and it matches, blend mode matches to the background. In this one, it's more blue. But because this is more of a white background, you're getting a bit more of a grey to it, which I think is fine for this case. Now, when you look at these things and you want to start modifying using card mod, this is your favorite tool. You go in and you find out what you want, what you don't want. You got the temp here. Let's see. See how it says font size 4? You can change that. Just play around with the settings within this editor. Even font weight, you can bring that down to normal. And so forth. Icon and so forth. And I'm not just saying for this card, I'm saying for any card specifically. If there's something you don't like, if there's something like the color of the all speakers or that there and so forth, click on it, highlight it, see if there's a theme setting that you can change, and if not, change it manually with mod card. So for here, we can see what we'll do. I'll see what I've done in here first. HA card, and I've got, so the HA card, I think that's fine. I don't know what's showing. It's generally that background. So HA card, everything normally has a HA card. It's, got the style of this HA card from the theme. Save that. No, I didn't like it. I think because we've got these blocks in here, I'll put that in. I don't think it matters anyway. Reload, and it gets rid of that HA card background. Because as we say, we're saying background none, box shadow none. You think box shadow, why are we doing none? Well, every HA card comes with these shadows, and you can see it clearly on here with the floor plan because I haven't added the style to remove it yet. But you can see the shadow going along. So, wrong one. So if we go back up, I might go to my floor plan and just get rid of that one first. This is the floor plan card. We're going to do box shadow and change that to none. We do a refresh. You can see it's no longer got that box shadow down the bottom. I'm going to do a proper refresh to get that header proper. So now, to finish off styling that weather card, which was down here, we got current host. Okay, so these are things that I did when I was editing for myself for my own floor plan. So current margin, let's see what that changes. That was, okay, I remember why I did that, but for this case, it's not relevant. Width, let's change, so I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Icon bigger. You're probably thinking, okay, how do you know all this again? That's all just based on here, and you can see icon bigger. And the fact is it's a class icon bigger. So whatever I'm choosing here, and then it's got a size, you got the width and the height here. So if we change it here, we can change our width and height within here, and when we're happy with it, we can copy that icon bigger and place it within here. So that is exactly the same part here. You're probably wondering why I got host there. It's because of cascading. If you put host before icon bigger, it means it will target down and override anything that's just icon bigger. So you can either do this or you can just do important. They both do the same thing and overrides those below the hierarchy. So in this case, I did width 8, height 8, margin top, -1 EM, and position unset. Did I save? No. So refresh that. Now the icon's there. Following on, we got the temperature icon. So we're saying temp and temp C and icon, position unset, important. Now I believe it had some kind of positioning issue. I'm not too sure why, but I think it fixed a issue I was having at the time. Here in the temp, we're going to change font size to 1.5, make the font smaller. So save, refresh, and as you can see, it's a lot smaller. I think on my floor plan it looks okay in that font size. This one probably not so much, but again, the white is very close to the background color, so you might want to change that depending on your background. Which I think if we just went here and change color, and I'll change it to black for now, which is 000, but it's not dollar sign, it is hash. Didn't like that one. So we'll find out within the class, it's got color and it didn't override because card mod is injecting itself before. So either we focus where it, by putting host in front, which is fine here. So we can do -host temp. And you can see it changed there. Now, are we okay with black? Yeah, black's not too bad. If you're not happy with the black and you've changed something that you can, change again after, make it easier to select. Put it more to a grayish. Then you put the color in like so. And you got temp C, which would be, I believe, the C font. Again, did a font size, vertical line, super. I think I did vertical line super because it had an issue about lining to where it should be. Do a refresh and you can see it's there. But again, it's not matching the color, so we'll add the color in. Now, I didn't have to do it this way because go back here, you can see temp C and temp is all under current. So I could have done current for the temp, and I might do that just for demonstration. So we're going to do host dot current and add the color. That's what I copied. Then we can get rid of these colors and this color. Now, initially, that's not going to work because the styles set below are going to override it. So if we first go refresh, it's going to go back to gray. And that's because, as you can see here, the color was set under host current, but in the hierarchy, temp gets precedence. So if we change color to important, it means that it overrides anything. Well, it cascades until it finds something else that's important, which that then overrides it. Again, I'm pressing the wrong one. So current, important. Let's just check because it might have been important for the other one. Generally, that shouldn't change it. But what I also noticed is you can change primary text color, which is probably the better idea anyway. So if you go back, current, and change to primary text color. Don't need important anymore, then it'll use this variable. And because current's above in the hierarchy, it will take precedence. So we're just changing the variable, and anything below that will reflect those changes. No biggie. So that's now done for the Weber. We've done the right speakers, and we've done the battery states. Now, lastly, I want to show the Honeycomb menu card. This is something that people are struggling with. I'm not too sure why, but some people aren't having it show up, and I believe it's to do with the styles and the themes. But from here, let's do something a little bit quick and easy, just to get your feet wet. So in the floor plan card, I've got a new rule that I put down here, and we're going to change entities, light, kitchen, main. Then we're going to do hold action. Now this is important. Be careful if you have another hold action in your previous rules with that entity in it, because it can conflict or duplicate and make things a headache. So if you have hold action for something else with that entity in it, change that action to something else, or change this to a double tap or something. So we do hold action, and we're doing action call service. We're doing service honeycomb. Before I go too far and people aren't familiar, this is regarding my Honeycomb module, Honeycomb Menu, which you can find on my GitHub page. And it's fairly detailed. A lot of it is self-explanatory. But at this point in time, we'll try and get it working and show people how I do it. So now we go to service data, and we're choosing entity, light, kitchen, main. Now this isn't actually needed for HA floor plan because it automatically adds it into the service data for the entity anyway. So we can remove that if we wish, or you can specifically target something else in regards to that service data, which might be better for a button. Then underneath you got buttons, you got icon information variant. So if you want to find out what icon to use, just go down to material icons, type it in, and change put MDI double dots, whatever it's called, semicolon, can't remember, and then put in that icon name. Then we do a tap action for what happens when you tap that icon, and we're going to choose more info. Next button, we got light bulb, and this time I put active true, meaning if the light bulb is active, then it will reflect that based on styling. And the tap action, we're going to do toggle, so it toggles that entity on and off. So I'll save this, go back, do a refresh, and that was kitchen, I believe. So let's go kitchen, and because there's a hold, I held down and I've got those two buttons there. Now, some people are saying they don't get, or it's all black in the background. I think if I click this, it'll go black because the style's not set for it. Information will pop up the information dialog. Then if we toggle it back off, it will turn back off. So let's fix that style for a second. Now, before we go further, we can click on this. Let's go to inspect. And let's click on the icon, container. Look for the background. It's been a while since I've used or edited these cards. So you got button light color. We can change it here, paper item. So if I go, let's say linear gradient, tiny, black, white, button card light color. I don't think that's changing. I think it's further down. Paper item icon color. That's for the icon. I want to do the background. So HA card background. That changes that one. So for starters, what you'll want to do, we'll go into this GitHub, and I've got it down here. You'll see the styles here and what they default to. Now, if you want to change them manually, we'll add them in. So let's go icon color. And let's go to the theme that we're using for our view. And I've already put one in here prior. You got icon color. Now I'm going to change that to white. Remember to put around quotes when you put in a hash, otherwise YAML will pass it differently and you'll get errors. We got icon active color. Again, here, active color, I'll keep as white for now. And the background so that's active. We'll have one for normal. So normal background color. And I'll change this to black for now. And there is another one that you can change for disabled, meaning that there's no icons presented there. And I'll do that as black. Try that again. Black with an alpha of 3. Means transparency. So now if we go back to here, let's do a refresh. Actually, you need to reload the theme. So call service. Do a proper refresh. Hold. And you can see that's all now changed. You can see they're transparent, but you can't see it too well because of the, well, with that of it. Because the overlay behind it is a bit dark. So if we go here, we can now go back to button card. We don't want to go to button card, we want to go to Honeycomb. And you got paper icon, that's not the one we want. So you got HA card, background HA card. You want to find the Honeycomb. Actually, we'll go to item, that would be a bit more specific. Let's filter out honey. The reason I'm going here to change it is because it gives us a better way to, it's in here, there it is, better way to style without hunting down specific CSS. So as you can see, you got Honeycomb Menu background color. That's the ones with the items. And let's change that to a linear. 90, again, 0, FFF, gradient, sorry. Linear gradient. Background color, linear gradient. Now, I think they've changed it. I think you have to do degrees. Yes. Sorry guys, they've changed something since for a while since I was doing CSS stuff. So we can change to a little bit of gradient, 45 degrees, and here now we can change, why are you being a bitch, Google Chrome, and change the color and try to match with the background a little bit. You don't have to, but that's what I tend to do anyway. Then again, I don't have a background showing to match it up with, so for now I'm just going to keep it blue. And top we can change to a darker blue. Oh, for crying out loud. And that's nothing I was doing, that's just Chrome being a bastard. And there you go. That's how you can do a little bit of styling for your card if it's not showing. And say if it's active, say I'm not literally doing nothing, it keeps jumping around all over the place. Let's say active, we'll make it kind of like all blue. So now that's done, we copy that. And that was for background color, linear gradient, and for the active icon, active background. Change that, refresh, I'll do actually the background was there, it's just the overlay was a bit too dark to allow it to blend in. Remember to call service for a reload of themes. Now you shouldn't have to refresh, it should update automatically. Now if I turn this on, it's all blue. You can make the bottom part more white to make it more obvious, or do whatever you please, but that should get you going with the Honeycomb menu. Other than that, guys, write in the comments if there's more that you need to know. I might do another video to help, and hopefully things are going good. Take care.